AS Chem students, please turn in your packet to page 6. At the top of the page, you will see covalent compounds in a squared box. We are going to take notes. Please pause this video as needed to fill in your notes. First thing you're going to write down is this definition. Pause video as necessary. Next, you're going to write the 5 characteristics of covalent bonds. Again, pause the video as necessary now. Next, you're going to write down the formal definition of a molecule. Again, pause the video as necessary so you can get this definition on page 6. Excuse me. So here are the rules for naming binary covalent compounds. Binary means 2 atoms making the compound, okay, or making the bond. The first element in the formula is always named first using the entire element name. So it's going to start with a nonmetal first of all. That's how we know it's a covalent bond. So I'm going to start with a nonmetal, and we're going to name it right off the periodic table for the first element. So oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, sulfur, phosphorus, hydrogen, iodine, and so on. The second element in the formula is going to have the ending drop and change to I. For instance, carbon becomes carbide, nitrogen becomes nitride, oxygen becomes oxide, fluorine becomes fluoride, chlorine becomes chloride, and so on. We will not crisscross, we will not reduce these. We will simply write or read as we see it. Write or read as we see it. Prefixes are used to indicate the number of atoms of each one. Let me show you some examples. Pause here if you need to get this down. Alright, so here are the prefixes. I expect that you have memorized these. Probably most of them make sense to you. Try for like triangle. Tetra, think of the game Tetris. In every block in Tetris there's 4 squares. Penta, pentagon. Hexagon, I don't know many too many heptagon shapes, but hepta would be 7. Octa is 8. Nona might be new to you. Nona is 9, and deca is 10. Alright, you'll need to know these prefixes for your test. Okay, so our first example. You're going to write or read just what you see. So I have a 2, H2O. I have H2O, so it's going to be di for 2 hydrogen and mono oxide. Now, we don't use the word mono very often. It's mostly used with carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide just to distinguish the two because one's really bad to breathe and one we exhale. So that's really why we use the word mono. So you can really leave the word mono out in most cases except for with carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Then you need to include monoxide. So next time you're thirsty, ask mom or dad for a glass of dihydrogen monoxide. Okay, so the di comes because of the 2. Hydrogen, right off the periodic table because it's the first element. And then oxygen drops the ending and becomes oxide. Pause if needed to get the example in your notes. Next example, we have nitrogen. So again, we're going to avoid the word mono in most cases. So this is going to be nitrogen oxide. And you could even probably get away with saying nitrogen monoxide. So both of them are 1, so I don't need prefixes. Next example, carbon, right off the periodic table, and then tetra, because of the 4, chloride. Okay, so tetra is because of the 4, chlorine becomes chloride because it's at the end of the covalent bond. Example 4, sulfur, right off the periodic table because it's the first element in the compound, and then dioxide, di because of 2, oxygen becomes oxide because it's ending. Pause anytime you need to in between these. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to take the name and we're going to write the formula. Carbon monoxide, I see no prefix, so just carbon. Or if I see mono, it's just 1. So CO, carbon monoxide, 1 to 1 because there's no prefixes. And then carbon dioxide, 1 and 2 oxygens. Why 2? Because of the di. Carbon, first element, oxygen is what is formed from the second name. Dihydrogen, tetranitride. Okay, so I have a di and a tetra. Do not reduce, do not crisscross, just write or read it as you see it. So dihydrogen tetranitride. Again, be pausing as you need to throughout this video. Next one is nitrogen dioxide. So NO2, no number with nitrogen because there's 1, because there's no prefix, or if the word mono was there, it would be 1. And that concludes. We're not going to talk about acids till later, so you can go ahead and stop here. The next assignment will be in your packet, and I will give that to you in just a moment. Thank you.